How's it going? Ultra Buddies reveal recap today. Tiga is on the menu. So a lot of Tiga news. We're going over the
Mhm.
Tiga. We've got the box topper reveal. We've got a few other double rares. And then that's pretty much it. So I think we can just get started. So we of course got the Tiga video. So Tiga level 1 is power or devastation. I don't think we've seen a devastation type bump before,
That is
um,
true.
which I think is funny because the only one I think is Zeton, off the top of my head. and
Yeah.
and then the Zeton like would be great up itself to extra if it is matched up against it. But moving on, I think this is a card that you've been dying to get Antigua for a while.
Mhm. Yes. The level 2, this one, like many others recently we got, you can return up to 2 cards from the top from your hand to the bottom of the deck and then draw that many cards. And I mean, this is great. This is exactly what I've been wanting for a Tika deck for a long time.
Yeah, especially because I think I think the main thing that Tiga is suffering with recently has actually been the lack of good like level twos with abilities,
Yep.
because it only got the scene searcher and then it's been like and then at 11K I guess where like a lot of these other decks are like playing multiple level twos that have either stronger effects than a scene search, or like Blazar which had a scene search and the
Yeah.
one with an effect. So it's good to finally see some love from Tiga from that aspect. And then why don't you read the
Yeah.
triple rare for us too?
So we have a new Tiga triple rare, pairs well with all the new cards we've been getting. So this one is you may give one of your, and we'll be very specific, level 2 or level 3 Ultra Heroes, or double or triple. So you can't use this on level 4s. Um, Level 2 or 3 Ultra Hero, that's double or triple a BP grade decrease for the turn. But then you can give one of your Tigas a BP grade increase by 1 for that turn. So you're kind of taking the BP from one character, applying it to another, but it's actually can be surprisingly versatile in the right situations. If you start looking at what turns you use it on, a lot
Yeah.
you can do with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a really interesting card. I think almost like perfectly someone in like one of the discords we're in was saying like, what if there's a card that like took a VP grade from someone else, and it was like this was like almost the next day. So
Yep.
very very interesting. I think one thing we've talked about how in the past is how Tiga is tends to be very dependent on the triple rare,
Yep.
getting a 3 stack, swapping it to the lead lane to take a lead. This is now a card that can pressure the lead as a double. So you have, and also I guess also as a triple, but it basically gives you a lot more ways to pressure the lead lanes as Tika. It gives you a little bit more flexibility in that. So I think it's really nice. Um, yeah.
It's also kind of, I think when you think about really competitive decks for BP5, the
Mhm.
existence of this card is going to put a lot of pressure on any Tiga doubles I play. Like if I played like a
Right.
2-3 Tiga, not this
Uh
one, but
huh.
just any 2-3 Tiga turn 2, that way I could maybe play Scarred or some other Legend list
Right.
and some scene. Normally you could just like play a 16k or even to like maybe some kaiju that like was stuck at 15k, and then you'd be
Yeah.
set for the rest of the game because the doubles, unless you swap that lane around, is never going to top that number. But now, like if I played that triple rare Tiga as a 13k, oh
Hmm.
sorry, this is the Felian Beam, the BP1 triple
Yeah.
rare lane 2 as a double 13k, but it's always one bump away from being 18k, and
Right.
now there's actually a way to bump it. So you could play a 2-3 of this in lane 4,
Hmm.
and a 12k double in lane 4 is not bad. And if this BP grades down itself to 7k, still not bad on a, like a turn 4, turn 5 play. And you're getting that 18k now activated somewhere else. So
Yeah, and you have to remember that this card can come out uh, basically uh, anytime with Legend of the Stone or the level 4, which I'll
yeah,
bring up again just to remind people. Um, so that is actually really scary. I think the combination of the level 4 and the scene and the Zeparion beam and this new one that adds in BP grade plus minus, that is really, really scary combo because you can really kind of manipulate the board into exactly how you want it.
So it's pretty much like you can have on turn 4, you swap a double to whatever lane you sacrifice, and then you further sacrifice it with this guy, and now you have 3 really other strong lanes.
Yeah.
And 1 poor lane, but that's still enough to win, right?
Absolutely. And I think you were mentioning like before was that in some of the previous combinations with Tiga, like Tiga Mebius, this would have been a really strong combo because you can decrease your Mebius card by a BP grade, but then use the Mebius effects to bump it back up, or better yet, actually swap it out with the champion of the Fierce Fight Swing to totally negate that disadvantage from this card completely. So that actually, the fact that you can just totally annihilate it with champion might make it worth considering Mebius Tiga again.
I mean, one of the concerns I think Mebius Tiga, I remember in BP2, is that it was really strong when everything worked, but it was a little bit inconsistent if you didn't have the right pieces. But if we go back to that level 2, you can get rid of if you have too many level 1s, too many level 3s, whatever, you can get rid of them, put them at the bottom of the deck, draw 2 new cards, and your consistency got solved by quite a bit.
Yeah, that's very true. And then one last thought I guess I have about this card is it opens up some new pairings for Tiga, such as the trigger, because of the new trigger scene, which negates BP grade decreases. So basically another way to get rid of this Tiga effect. And you can kind of get a little freaky with it, I guess, if you have something like this with the trigger scene, where you could use this multiple times in one turn and stack BP grade decreases on one card, and then just negate all of them with the Tiga scene. Or if you want to be even funnier with it, is a Geiger raid. Could sneak in there too.
Now that you mentioned that, Tiga trigger will be an interesting one to pair, because like now you can play doubles that are able to bump itself up to 17k, and a trigger triple rare can also give another 2,000 to a double. So now you, like with this card, you have a 19k double. It's not bad.
Yeah, and you can also like do some cheesy things with like this card. Like I said, with this card and like Legend of the Stone out, you can go for a double BP grade increase. So you can put down as a Zeparion beam in the most recent lane, and boom, it's an 18.
Another thing, you could actually play this card twice in the same turn. Remember, you can keep stacking. You can give a poor double, like 2 BP grade decreases, to give 2 other lanes like a BP grade.
It's going to be pretty scary. I think this card is a lot better than I think a lot of people will give it like an initial pass.
I would say it's more of like it's people underappreciate sometimes like the ability to rearrange power on the board. So this card doesn't add any really new power, which like you see triggers triple rares like, oh, I have 3,000 here, 2,000 here, like that's 5,000 more than I had. But sometimes what you need to win is not more power, but making sure the right lanes have it.
Right, exactly.
But it's a lot harder to play, which is where I think it's a good balance. But it isn't a card for everyone. It requires like the right amount of foresight to play it and actually get value from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty much it for the Tiga, but that's not all the Tiga cards we got this week, surprisingly. The new Ultraman Tiga, Ultraman Blazar, Ultraman Ultra deck, which is going on sale in December, was announced. So this is, from my understanding, a competitive, essentially a competitive style starter deck. So you should be able to buy this and feel good about jumping into a tournament. Unlike the Rising decks, unlike the starter decks where you're going to need to buy 2 of them, you should be able to buy one of these. You get, I think they said 60 cards. So your 50 card deck with 10 cards you can rearrange. Very excited for this product. It also is going to have markers to show plus minus power, plus minus grade, lead next player, which I think we'll have to get some just to try it out. And because there's new cards. There's new cards that I didn't really expect them to add new cards, but there are new cards. So this is the Tiga we were talking about. It's a level 1 And when it enters play as a single, if you have scene, which means you have a lead, you have a scene. Well, not necessarily you have a lead. You have a scene.
Yes,
You own this. You're the owner of the scene card. You can return one Tiga card from your discard to the top of the deck, which is pretty crazy if you like just think about what kind of deck it's in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got this Blaze Art, which is a return to classic. Pick two up to two from your hand, put them on the bottom, draw two, which is also crazy for this deck. Like, I don't. I'm kind of like starstruck a little bit. I don't know. But let's talk about the Tika first. Maybe.
Yeah. So this is a great set, that this Ultra deck. And now it's not only if you already have Tiga Blazer, you pretty much, if you like playing Tiga, you have to get this set just because you'll really want these new cards. So this is a really cool one because a lot of cards like Blazar, like some other things, they have these cards that are level 1 and a little bit weaker, but they have a lot of potential for setting up something crazy. So this one, if you have the scene card, you play this as a single, 3,000 is probably going to lose its lane, but you get to put any Tiga card from discard to your top of your deck. And when you consider things like you could get your level 4 that you milled accidentally, put top of your deck, next turn you have a level 4 coming, or you're playing Tiga Blazar like the deck here we have, you can pick any Tiga you want from discard and then guarantee a level up Scarred. Because I've lost a number of games where I just needed to hit something in Scarred to win, and you miss it. So this is that guarantee. Like Blazar has something similar from your hand to top a deck, but this, you have everything from discard to pull from.
Yeah, from discard to pull from is actually crazy. Like I was thinking, when Mebius got banned, I was like, man, it would be so crazy because like it would be one of the only decks that could grab its level 4 from the discard. Well, now Tiga can grab its level 4 from the discard. I know Arc can grab level 4 from the discard, but it doesn't seem like Arc's going to be getting a level 4. But yeah, like just being able to grab the level 4, put it on top, draw it with something, get ready for the next turn is so crazy, especially a deck like Tiga, which you can use Zeparion Beam. So you could play this on turn 3 and then have the Zeparion Beam kind of like cover you safely for the next turn and then just go crazy on turn 4. But yeah, like I was like, what? This card's crazy. And then
it's a crazy card for Tiga.
I think Blazar, maybe not so much to talk about, just a really nice consistency type thing for the deck. However, it's going to be tricky to fit in now that Blazar has 3 really good level 2s, right?
Yeah, Blazar has 3 really solid level 2s. Like that, the double R from set 1 is still one of like the strongest level 2s, like 13k on play.
For sure.
Really good for taking turn and setting up future triples. But now the wonder, like Tiga Blazar, I feel like this is a tough card to fit in. Like you might have to get rid of the scene searches for this, but you really want the scenes in Tiga Blazar to get Scarred going. The 13k, that other double R is really good for taking lead and then setting up future Scarred play. So it's a bit of a trade. Maybe I run like 3/3/3 of each. I don't know. Like it's a tough call. But I think for other Blazar decks, this is even crazier. Like if you're running Blazar Orb, a mono Blazar, like this is a great card to have.
Yeah, for sure. I think specifically talking about Tiga Blazar, since we're on the deck, I think you can actually, even though this is in the deck, I think you can kind of skip out on it because Tiga doesn't have that many like strong level 2s. So you're going to be playing the Return to Tiga version. So you can kind of like, okay, well, let me use the Blazers to get the scenes because that's a little bit more important because you're not going to drop the 13k win.
Oh yeah, So you could. I feel like you could keep a little bit of each because we'll have to see, because with the new Tiga triple Rs, like even the new triple R we just saw does alone fix a lot of the consistency problems, because
that's true.
Before, a lot of the games are like, I need to get the Tiga triple R to like do my move, and you could use Blazar to get it, you could use the new Tiga to get it, you could just bypass it by just using the Tiga double, like the new one. So
yeah, that's very true.
Good deck.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. I feel like we're kind of like hitting that breaking point for effects in the games where it's like it's the number of plays you can do is kind of like blowing wide open. Anyway, before we move on to our next card, Let's finish up the video with,
Yes.
I think, what's going to be coming next. Did they say that somewhere?
Yes. So
3
we're getting
Ultraman Decker cards. So this is why I said we're probably not getting Arc as a quadruple rare, as a quad rare, as a level 4, and that's because this really hints that Decker is going to be the one that gets it. They could be, trying to bamboozle us, which I think they've kind of done in the past, right?
It'll be really interesting either way, because Decker has always been really good, but quite like always missing something to like consistently be on top. And I'm really curious, because level 4 I feel like is such a weird thing to think about for Decker, because you want
it would be so not good for Decker.
So like I want to see how maybe it's worth it. Like if
I know I have it in front of me. Okay. I just want to make sure there's been other card games where they like, for example, at Vanguard, the grade 3 searchers, they future proofed them by saying grade 3 or higher. But for 11 sets of Vanguard, there was never a grade 4, and then it finally was one, and everyone's like, "Whoa, it's just grade 3 or higher."
Yeah.
But Decker says exactly triple. So
exactly. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
It will be pretty interesting. I think if it is a quad rare, I would like it to say, if this character is a quad stack, it counts as a triple. That's like probably my number one requirement. But it could be a little bamboozle. Like it could just be a double, not a triple rare, but like a double rare. Like Decker's just getting a lot of support, and they're saving it, because it feels really early to kind of give away our last quad rare. But I guess they've been doing the videos every 2 weeks.
No, we're still missing 2 quad rares. So we haven't seen like
but
maybe Gita's. Yeah, but we have to see it, so they have a little bit of time to space out reveals. Even if we know what they'll be, they can hopefully space some stuff out.
Oh man, this set is coming up real quick. Anyway, moving on. I'm very excited about Decker. I mean, it's the deck that I like. I beat you in our very first Galaxy Cup with, I think, at one of the decks that started off the channel, and I'm always a little bit sad that I can't quite get it to work. Just not quite there. So hopefully these will be there. So okay, Dandadan collab. That's what's next. Also a really good card. Really awesome art.
Yeah.
Just everything is about this is great. Just can't change to a different view really quick.
Yeah.
So what this card does is a double or single or double. When it enters play, you reveal the top card of an opponent's deck, and if you do, the revealed card is an ultra hero. Then you can give this character a BB grade increase by 1. If it's not, it becomes extra for the turn. So it's a little bit of a gamble. Oh, but then you return the top card to the top or bottom. It's a little bit of a gamble, especially against maybe like a kaiju heavy deck. This card kind of sucks. But being able to play one card, bust it down as a 15 in one turn, always super strong. I have more thoughts, but I'd like you to go first.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is a gamble, but I feel like that's an acceptable risk sometimes.
Yeah.
Like a single 15K, like people were really excited in BP1, I remember, for Gamora. You play it, and it's a 12 or 11 or 12K, and like you use that to cheese a win at the end of the game, like later turns. But like this, 15K will win most lanes as a single, and like anything after turn 5.
Yeah, that's also true. I think this one is a little bit scarier to me because, in the like compared to Gamora or the other Metron, is like if you miss this one, it becomes an 8, which is not great. Whereas Gamora is like always a 12, so like maybe you can kind of like finagle it. Like it's less risky in that sense.
Yeah, but I think that like the payoff is really crazy, which is where I feel like it's worth it. Also, if you like want that control deck like you had with X, where you're looking at what your opponent's playing, you still get to see what's coming next. Or I think you probably want to talk about the EX aspect of this a little more too, with how this helps other decks.
Of course, the EX aspect is nice because of Belial. It allows you to play this card as Belial and then bump it to a 15 with one card. Or I guess if you have 2, if you play it on that turn, you give itself a BP up, and then a Belial is a 17. That's a pretty scary prospects to like be playing against, that your opponent could just be like, haha, I got a 17 out of nowhere. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little conflicted because I think it's very I think my current Belial build is very tight.
Yeah.
And right now I see this as a card that fights with space for Spherosaurus. And
Yep.
Spherosaurus is a card that's probably going to be 15 all the time. And Metron is a card that's going to be 15 like for one turn.
I think this is definitely the interesting thing with some of these ones. Are it's not like Lugiel or Mephisto where you need to have 2 cards and then you're pretty much committing
Oh yeah,
8 cards to it. You can have you could have this as a 2 of,
that's
and
also
then
true.
you just save it for like a finishing blow sometimes.
Yeah, and that's very true. And then speaking of the X kind of deck, so you guys, if you've been following along the channel, you'll know that I have a top card control deck, very Magic inspired. If you're like an old Magic head, there's a archetype called Lantern Control, which would have both players play with the top card of their decks, and then you would play some other cards, which kind of like let you change the top card of their deck or the order of it, or and there was a lockout where you could counter spells if they are the same counter card, like at the same cost as like the top card of their deck. So not quite the same level of power
Yeah.
as that, but the same kind of idea, especially in a game like this where the information is really important. If you can kind of force your opponent to draw cards they don't want to draw, and also or know what they are going to draw, then you can make some really annoying decisions. So speaking of X, I think that's our next one actually.
Yep.
Is Ultraman X is a good segue. Gamora armor, triple or double rare, level 3. It's a triple only activate, and you send one of your scene cards to its. So not that's can be tricky. Send one of your scene to its owner's discard
important
area.
distinction.
It's a very important distinction, and give one of your Ultra plus 1,000 BP for this turn for each round on the sent card. So it's an important distinction, is because typically a scene card refers to a card in your hand, whereas the scene refers to the actual scene in play. So you have to have the scene in play to be able to activate this Ultraman X. But when you do, it's giving you a huge boost, like especially late round 3, round 4 scenes, plus 3,000, plus 4,000. Like that's a big deal. It's funny to me that this card with a round 4 scene can beat a level 4.
Yep. And I mean, even without getting to level 4, like think about X has that level 2 or round 2 scene. I think that also gives you plus 1,000 alone.
Yes.
So just this is a triple, you can hit 20k with that, or even if you give someone else a 1,000 and discard that, you're still at 19k. This will pretty much win your lane as a triple.
Yeah.
Ignoring like level 4, sure, that they exist. We'll figure out how those play out, but it gives you some other options to play X, as like you have the triples with these guys and your doubles or your level up blocking ones, and you can have a little bit more you work with now.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint about this card is that it doesn't fit like the game plan of X as like it seemed like it was going to go. It's like it feels like, whoa, what are we doing here? This is a totally different deck, because X wasn't like, it's not really a deck that can take lead. So now you have to pair it with something like Ginga, but then the Ginga scene removes itself. So I think it might end up being a little awkward, but it is a very strong effect. So we'll just have to see. And like I said, I really enjoyed this kind of like cheeser top deck control type version of X, and the fact that it didn't get support makes me a little sad. But it's probably for the best. Like,
but maybe we'll see a scene that like kind of ties all this together. That's like around 3 or 4.
Yeah, that would be nice. Hopefully it's not like a too crazy where it's like it does something and then it has something where like, oh, if this card was discarded by your effect from play, and that's too much. But yeah, a scene would be nice to kind of bring things together, because we also saw some other Ultraman X which just like reveal the top card of the deck, and it's like, so that they're kind of supporting the old X, but then they get this new one that's like, I don't know, kind of weird. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but that's not my decision to make. So I think we can move on from this one, unless you have any other thoughts.
No, I think it'll be an interesting one. I think you covered the main points, and we kind of just want to see where X goes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, so I'm definitely excited about it, but it's just kind of weird. It doesn't seem to fit the other ones. Anywho, We have another X. It's just a kind of your standard power or hazard BP grade increase. Nothing too spectacular. I think most of these will be kind of that way. The Ultra Zero fight is actually pretty interesting, though.
Yep.
It's a round 2 scene. When an enter scene enters play, you can choose up to 3 of your 0. And if you do, you give them all power and speed type, which is really important for the new triple rare and the new level 2s that draw cards.
For some reason, I thought I was now rereading this. It's an on play, so you can't give your newest lane power or speed type.
No, you can't give the newest.
I'm wondering if that's like, I mean, you already have a few lanes by this point that you can give the types to, but I'm curious like how all these combos will open up with all the new zero stuff. Like you can't play like the 2-3 of the new basic or the triple RZ in like lane 4 and expect to give itself like a plus 2000 minus 2000 all in one.
You can kind of trick it with, there's like a new rare or uncommon that is a speed type that can give power type. So you can kind of do something like that for a setup. I think the more I think about this card, the less I like it. I was like, oh, this is so cool, because if you like get lead on lane 2, then you can play this, and then you can play 2 draw ones, and you can guarantee that you draw 2. But like chances are, if you have 2 draw ones, you're probably going to be able to draw 2 anyway. Like if they're alternating. And I just don't think that the real power of the triple rare is like double stacking. And if it is, this is like does way too much. Do you know what I mean? Like
no, I'm wondering if like these are going to be things where you like I think there's still utility to this, like where you have a 0 slugger that hit its mark, so you have a 17k in lane 2 and it's tied against a 17k, and like the thing with Zero Nexus was that it was great at giving that 2000 to a tiebreaker. So this might be your source of tiebreaker. You play this, it's now power type, and then when you play in one of any of the lanes, your new triple R0.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we could see like, I think this is really good like when you hit like turn 4. Even though it's a round 2 scene, it's really strong when you hit turn 4, and you can play this and give everything power and speed type, and then play like 2 of the new triple rare, and then you're just like putting 8k wherever you want it. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, like you said, like it would be a good combo to set up the power and speed types so that you can use the new triple R maybe alongside an ultimate 0. To kind of like get the power, the BP grade ups you need, and get the power bonuses to like bump them over whatever your opponent's trying to do.
I think one thing about this card, well, like there are cases where this card's especially good, but we probably meta-wise we'll have to see. Like if you're going against a lot of kaijus, right? Like Omegas or Belial stuff, they have a lot of things where like I go to EX if you're a certain type.
Oh yeah.
This would be very good in like these situations. So there's circumstances you can use this, but it is like a little tricky to.
Yeah, and on the flip side, you could also get punished for all the ultra heroes that are like,
you don't have to give.
This
there. You just choose not to give it.
That's true. All right, well, I think we'll just have to kind of see how things play out for this, but it could end up being very strong. It could also end up being kind of worthless.
It's very tied into some specific combos, so we'll have to see how good they are.
And then we have Ultraman Victory, kind of your new power hazard type grade up. Not much to say there. And then we have No Agul. I think this is our last card for the day, and at least somewhat interesting. Why don't you go ahead and read it?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting kind of first of its kind bounce card. So this is a level 2 Agul, a rare, and as a single or double, it can use this effect where you may put the top card of one of your double or triple Gaia Aguls into your owner's hand, just like all your other bounce cards. However, this one, the second effect is if you do that bounce, and this character is a single, discard 1 card from your hand. So rather than gaining a resource when you do a bounce, you're if it's a double, nothing happens, and if it's a single, you actually lose and pay a cost to it. So it's a very interesting bounce compared to everything else. Like the other level 2 Agul is like if you do the bounce, you get to draw 2 cards and put 1 away, or the other one you like get 1000 somewhere or take a card from discard. So it's a first of its kind with that aspect, but I do think it is what you want in a lot of Gaia Ghoul decks.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Most of them you get a positive benefit for bouncing because bouncing is not inherently a good thing to do in
Yeah.
this game. But I do think that my experience with Gaia Ghoul is that the deck thrives on when it has a bounce, enabler in hand, something that bounces. And so the more cards like that you can play, the better, even if like they may not be doing something extra or they might be, actually hurting you in a little bit because you just kind of need those things to keep the train going.
So I like to think of this card as kind of like those level 1 cards like the Tiga we talked about today, or the level 1 Blazers, where when you play it later, or you kind of play this towards the end of the game where you're not really expecting this card to win, but you're using it to set up something important to go for the kill and like end the
Right.
game there. So like you said, when you have your triple BP4 a ghoul that gives the Gaia ghouls plus 2000 when a triple goes in your hand, or you have like a level 2/3 a ghoul rares that get a BP grade up when you do a bounce, or you have to scene out. You have to have probably one, if not two, of these type of effects on the board. Then that one bounce, because like this card may lose its lane, it's not the strongest in the world, and then you bounce another card, which means that card may lose its lane. And sometimes you even have to discard a card. But if that's enough, like this is turn 5 or something, and that sets up the ghouls to get a BP grade up and your scene or something else, then this is what you need.
Yeah, and at least from my experience, there's a lot of situations like that where you hit the turn 4, turn 5, and you're like, I just need a bounce.
Yeah.
And I would get this, but I don't have it because you're missing, like it's on the level 3 guy and you're missing the level 2s or whatever. Like you're always kind of like missing something. So just the more the merrier, I think, for bouncing.
Yeah. And Gaia ghoul decks usually have a good enough a draw that you can afford like one of these that just stays in your hand all game until you hit like turn 5 or 6 when you need to pull it out.
Yep. Okay, that's it for us this week. Look forward to Decker, which I think will actually be in 2 weeks because they've been spacing the videos out a little bit.
Yep.
So we'll see what's next week for the big reveals, maybe a Geed quad rare. And looking forward to the Decker cards either way. If this comes out next week, I'm assuming that it won't be a quad rare. So we'll see. Thanks for listening to us ramble about the new cards. The new start deck or ultra deck is going to be really cool. And Tiga is going to be very scary. Yeah.
That ultra deck, remember this comes out mid BP5, so remember
it does.
Even
it could
if
be
relevant. Maybe Tiga Blazar is missing that last piece, like the first half of BP5, and then this is going to come out, and then it'll get even better.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially we, unfortunately for us English people, we still don't know the qualifier dates. So there is a chance that this is relevant for your qualifiers. So keep that in mind, and it's gonna be fun. I'm curious to see what else they'll put in here because these are new arts.
If you scroll down, I think they also mentioned like somewhere they said the card count, and they had this wording of like 10 unique cards.
Maybe
it wasn't in
this
page.
Not on this page.
Yeah.
We can go look a little bit, but this will be the last one. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I do like these.
The counters.
Okay, so
there's no quad rares. Remember that.
There's no quad rares. 21 card types. Is that it?
No, somewhere it was another posting. I thought they said 10 uniques. So
okay,
I wasn't sure if that meant like you'd have some cards unique to this set. Like one question is, are we going to get 4 copies of the level 1, or like 3 copies? Or are you going to get 4 copies of the Blazar, or like 2 or 3? So
better get 4.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. But
I'm not going to hunt for it now. We'll just see as things get closer to this. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks.